Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Fire Factor Show. We haven't done one in a week or two, and so I'm very excited to be having Luis Swartz with me today. Today, we're talking about what probably be a boring subject for some people, and that's SEO. And our subject is talking about SEO as fuel for your business. And that's very, very important. And that's one of the things that we want to educate and talk about today. I always want to start the show as well saying we do phenomenal interviews with phenomenal people doing phenomenal things. And so we're going to delve into Louis' story and talk a little bit about the projects he's working on, like successes, etc. Louis, I know we spoke about this before, but how are you doing?
Yeah, well, I'm good. Thanks yourself, Ivan.
Wonderful, man. Excited to have you on the show. So let's just, before we get into SEO, etc., how's it managing a beard? I'm very, I've got a very baby face. I can't really grow my beard on this side. I can grow a bokkie. I had a bokkie about up to a year a while back, and about I think a week ago, I just didn't shave here for like 2 days, and my wife started to complain. So, are you using any beard oil? What's the experience like for you?
Yes, I am using the oils and the stuff that you get in the stores. Luckily,
Right.
I do have a friend that makes these oils. I wouldn't say it's a favorite in my family or with the fiance.
Right.
Definitely not. But maintaining it, at this stage, it's really not a lot of work. It's actually just your beard, like you wash your hair, and then once you're done, like brushing your teeth, you just put the oils in, and that's
okay. So it's like part of your daily routine, yeah.
Yeah.
I always favor and I like this Buffelsfontein Bart Olie. They've got a great campaign, the way that they market it, etc. So that's always exciting to watch. And thank you for being on the show today. Let's dive right in. I always start the show by introducing the guest and making the story, telling the story. I want to know if Louis Swartz, if we talk about you being a superhero, and let's be honest, all of us, I think the encouraging part of life is we're always a superhero for someone. It might be for a client that you really helped, or just individuals around you that respect you and look up to you, etc. So let's set you up as a superhero, and every superhero has a backstory. So you today you're working in the SEO environment. How did you get here? What's your backstory? Where do you come from? What did you do before this, and why SEO?
So straight, I'm out of school, so I was in Krugersdorp, Monarchs.
Okay.
I went to study at Potchefstroom, had a lot of fun there, and I studied HR, human resources. At that stage, so I studied for about a year and a half, and then I just came to the realization that this is nothing that I want to do. So, I'd rather just drop out and tell my dad, listen, I first want to know what I want to do before I go and waste your money and my time. Obviously, my dad wasn't happy. Obviously, he spent a lot of money on me at that stage. I then went for an internship for at a digital marketing company here in Roodepoort, where I started my career. At that point of time, I didn't know anything about digital marketing or the digital world at all. So I went through the industries. I went through website design, went through SEO, Google AdWords, Facebook, and they gave me the choice of choosing where I want to be and where I think I will fit in. I immediately said, listen, I love SEO for the reason that it keeps on changing every single day, every single week, every single month. There's an algorithm, there's something new to know, there's something I need to learn. And for me, that was quite a bit of a challenge. So that's where my career started in 2017. Started working there when I was 20, going on 24 this year, and luckily working for FIO. So previously, I was mostly just in the SEO division, just fitting in into the teams. But these days, I am focusing and more specializing in the technical side of things of the SEO.
Okay, perfect. So I want to just from the story that you told there. I know our associate Rory is in the HR field, but HR can be. What was it challenging for you because it wasn't? It was a bit boring because HR is very much like a people thing. You're working with difficult situations, etc. Was it just that SEO was or digital marketing was more exciting than HR, or what did you find with HR?
My problem with HR is like I didn't see myself doing this for the rest of my life,
Right.
and I think you
Okay.
can't see yourself doing this for the rest of your life. There's no use in actually going ahead with it. Sometimes, yeah, well, you just have to go ahead. But at that stage, I thought, listen, I'm still young and I can make something of myself
You
in
can still
another.
change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, man. The your I want to lean a little bit on the part where we spoke about your dad. You know, I don't know how old he is, but parents that come from pretty much the old school, I assume that HR was viable for him because he was, he understands that. But digital marketing, especially SEO, is not something that the bloomers grew up with. That wasn't a thing back then, because the internet didn't exist. Is that what happened then?
So my dad is actually, like I said, at that stage, he worked at the company where I got the internship
Okay.
at. So my
All right.
dad was and is with the times. So he, like me, likes to learn about the new things, and he
Okay.
doesn't hold on to the old kind of traditions of
That's cool.
only okay, well, face-to-face meetings and no digital. You write a letter or something. So my dad is with the
Right.
time. I must say that was something that I saw. Okay, cool. So my dad can do it, and
Okay.
like he was old for me. I thought, well, I'm still young, and this
Right.
is an industry that's growing. So why not just give it a chance?
Cool. Let's dive into SEO. If you, in a nutshell, could explain to someone the value of SEO for a business, let's put aside websites and searchability and all the other stuff. Let's just talk about a business. How important is SEO and having an SEO strategy in partnership with your digital company and your digital team, your website team for your business? Why is that important?
Okay, so in my opinion, there's a lot of SEOs with different kinds of opinions, and that's also what I love about this industry. In my opinion, SEO is really important for your business because how can you start a business and run a business, get your name out there without people knowing about you? These days, everyone is Googling stuff, they are going on YouTube to learn stuff. And these days, there are companies that can show you all this stuff which you are okay, well, I never knew, and like how to run a business. So getting your name out there is really, really, really important. And without SEO on the digital platforms, that is not possible because we make sure that your website is authoritative with Google. So making it step by step legal by Google's terms and their conditions. We make sure that your website follow every single step Google has for you, and they give you the steps as well to make sure that you get your brand, your name, your company, and yourself out there to get a client. And without having the authority, you will never get that type of business because Google will never recognize you.
Awesome. Can you give us a very simple how to? How does SEO work in terms of making your website and your business more visible online?
Okay, so I'm going to explain it in terms of building a house. I like using this example. First of all, you need a foundation to build your house on. We are starting at the foundation. We are looking at your website from a different perspective, a different eye, from Google's eye, from different kind of bots. So we make sure that the basis of your website is straight, simple, great, good enough, and within Google's terms. So that's making sure, first of all, user experience. I mean, if someone goes onto a website and they can't see any value in this website just by looking at it, they lose a customer. So first of all, making sure that the user experience is fantastic. the client can stay on this website. From there on, we dive into the more like on-page stuff, which will be then your content. Without content, you will never get a ranking, or you will never be visible to any client searching for any keywords that is related to your business. So that is where the title tags, the meta descriptions, and then the content on your website itself comes in. Once we have that sorted, we start looking a bit deeper. We go into your technical side of things. So the technical side of things can be quite difficult. It can be, it can be difficult, and that's just making sure. Okay, so we've built the platform, we've built the walls. Now we need to put in furniture. So then we go into the technical. What will be the best for your website? Will a redirect be the best for this page? Will a canonical be better for this page? And that's stuff that we go and analyze. So once we have the technical finished, that is great. We have the foundation, the walls, and the furniture nails. Now you need, let's say, your toiletries or your groceries, etc. So that's where our citation campaigns and our placement campaigns come in. To get your brand on every single platform out there without us working too hard to get there, because obviously we've already set the basis, we built the walls, we have our furniture. So then we run our citation campaigns, and that is stuff like the yellow pages, etc. For people looking for, let's say, a plumber, they search for a plumber, they go on this website and they will find the details for our website, like the telephone number, the physical address, and etc. Once we're done with that, we keep on maintaining that. Like I said earlier, then like with SEO, the algorithms change on Google, and we have to adapt to those certain algorithms. That's where we start building a dry area, or when we start planting the grass, or when we build a pool. That is the extras that we do to make sure that your website gets on top and stays there. And that is the best explanation that I have.
That's a phenomenal explanation. I've never heard it that way, and it's definitely something that you can use to onboard clients and make you understand them a lot better. I mentioned before we want to bring a little bit of reality to the to this space. Um, I've just started or launched my website. Now I am aware of SEO, and I come to you and I say, Louis, here's my website. I want to rank for this. I want to rank for my business. And I want to rank in a week or two. Talk about the realities of that. I'll go into the mechanics of this a little bit, like for instance, domain names, search terms, etc. But just, is that a realistic expectation?
Not at all. So this is one thing that a lot of the businesses and clients don't understand is SEO is an investment. This is like a retirement fund. You are going to start investing now, but I won't be able to pull out that money once you're retired. For us, it's yes, please come and invest in us, but it'll take a while because we need to start from scratch. It doesn't matter if your website has SEO, the basis and everything. The thing is, we have to walk in there thinking that this is a brand new website on Google, and we have to go from the base to the top again. So it is a long-term investment to do SEO. So I would say nothing less than 6 months is a viable contract to run. Then you get the clients, because I've previously worked with a few clients that said, yeah, so this is a 3-month contract, please let me rank. And then after 3 months, we give them the results, but it's obviously not the results that they want. And they are not going to see those results within 3 months. But we still still keep on giving them the results, better results every single month. So they can already see there is growth in every single month. It's maybe not massive jumps, but there is movement. As long as there's movement, you have to get momentum. Once you have the momentum, it's just going to grow and grow and grow and grow. So it is a long-term investment.
So am I correct to assume that the minimum expectation should be 6 months to rank? And is that the expectation to rank on page one realistic? And then obviously, I think it takes a little bit longer for you to rank number one if your niche is not too competitive.
So the thing is, it depends on where we start. Let's say we start with your website on a page 10 on Google. You won't see in 6 months that you are ranking on the first page. You won't see that. Sometimes we get lucky and yes, we get you there. But we never make those promises because we can't make those promises because it's up to Google to make those decisions. So 6 months for me is to get good momentum to move up and up and up. So once you have that momentum, you can show the client, okay, so we have that momentum, we've made movement, but now we have the momentum to move it to the top.
I think also a good education point is it also depends what industry you're in. For instance, financial advisory as an example. If I'm a small company and I now have a website and I want to rank on page one, I'm going against Momentum, I'm going against King Price, etc. All those guys who got millions that are investing in this. So the reality is there is also maybe my strategy could be better. I could still do SEO, but to expect the first page is going to be difficult. And I might maybe want to look at a communications campaign, maybe doing content, that kind of thing to get my visibility out there. So we spoke about the time frame, Louis, and let's say now I'm a client and my website is now on page one. Maybe I'm lucky and I'm number one on the page. Now I'm happy and now I stop the campaign, and that's a mistake because maintenance has to be done. It has to be, you have to keep on working at it. Is that correct?
Yes. So it's fantastic when you get there and then a few people think, okay, so and now we are done. We did invest, and yes, it did take us, let's say, a year to get on the first page, and then they just stop. People they keep on forgetting that Google changes every single month. I mean, we have to read articles, um, join webinars for us as the specialists, just to stay on top of things and make sure that we are still doing the right thing. So maintaining that and keeping up to date with every single trend and every single algorithm is a massive thing. So you can't just stop the campaign because then you will drop to the bottom again.
How much time are you guys investing in educating yourselves and keeping up with the times? I
Okay,
think that's
so
something that people don't know, and it's important that we communicate that because
yeah. Ivan, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Hi,
Can you hear
Ivan.
me?
There we go. I can hear you
Yes.
again.
Okay, perfect. We were
Um,
talking about, yeah.
so in FIO with us as a team, we do have an hour training session every single week. Maybe there's something new that someone learns, or maybe it's just a training internally. I personally read blogs, let's say 3 to 4 times a week for about an hour. Like every morning when I start off my PC, I start going on the different kind of platforms to go read the blogs and stay up to the times and make sure that I didn't miss an algorithm change or something maybe like an update on Google Analytics or Google Search Console. So we really do invest in like research a lot. I would say at least per week we spend about 4 to 6 hours just reading
Wow.
up new things.
Talking about changes, Louis, you're saying it changes often. What do you guys have in place if there's a major change? Like I remember long ago, there was like, it's not penguin now, it's panda or whatever the case may be. And, these big changes happen. What do you guys do when these changes happen to adapt?
Okay, so one thing, then we come back to the research we're doing. If we keep on doing this 4 to 6 hours a week to do the research, we will know about the update coming within a month. So then we start with the plans. Okay, cool. So next month will be the update. With, let's say, this client, we have to change this. And with this client, we have to change this, because it's not on every single website that you have to change the same thing. The biggest thing that changed recently was the core web vitals on Google Search Console. So that is mostly site speeds, etc. Using a user experience. That's a big thing that changed for Google. And we made sure that our websites are ready for that. And when we started with new clients, let's say just after the update, we made sure that that is the first thing that we look at, because that's the first thing Google is going to look at. So that's where the research comes in. We make sure that we know about this stuff way before that update actually happens.
Cool. Let's talk about ranking for a second. A lot of times customers come to you and say, I want to rank for this. And sometimes that's not the correct search term. So they might give you their name, a service, company name, search items, etc. And often that's not the correct thing to go search for, because the realities are we need to look at what people are actually searching for online and the search volumes of that. So what are your experiences like with clients coming to you and say, I want to rank for this, and it should actually be something else?
So what we do is we first go and look at the website. We do a full audit, seeing which industries they are supposed to target, and that is without any brief from the client. So we don't want the client to tell us this is what they want to rank for, first of all. So we would like to go in there not knowing anything about this website or client. We will then do a full SEO audit, and that will be keyword research. That will be a technical audit. That is looking at the competitors for you. We take our own keywords and make sure, okay, cool, so these are your competitors for these keywords, for these keywords, and for these keywords. With that, we do keyword research, extensive keyword research on every possible keyword that you should be ranking for. Once we have the meeting with the client will tell us, no, but we would like to rank for this and this and this. We then go back, we go do the same process all over again and say, but with this, you are going to compete with much bigger people. Let's rather target this, because your competitors are much easier to win or to beat in certain fields. So yeah, that's a process of us actually looking at where you should target.
Let's talk for a second about this occurrence, and it happens a lot. Like with social media, some companies or individuals, they do their own social media. And so if you talk to them about marketing, they're like, no, I do my own social media. And you find other people that also do their own SEO. So they would plug in Yoast SEO or whatever. Can you talk to us about the difference between doing your own SEO, which what I'm hearing from you is like you guys have your finger on the pulse. By the time that your plugin or your method that you're using adapts, it's going to be too late. So talk to me about doing my own SEO versus getting a specialist to actually manage that for me.
So one big thing is we have a lot of resources. We know which platforms to use and which will be the best. And those resources really help us. And there's not a lot of people that actually invest in those resources if you do your own SEO, because those resources cost money. They don't want to spend more because, well, otherwise you would have paid a company to do your SEO. So I must say the resources we have are much better than the normal resources the usual client uses. And then also, you wouldn't go to a normal house doctor to get your knee replaced. You need to go to a specialist for that to be done. So that's where we come in. We are the specialists. Yes, you can maybe get your foundation ready on your side, but the bigger, smaller, more technical things we will handle because we are specialists in that. And that's, yeah.
Cool. You obviously deal with a lot of relationships and partners as well. And so let's quickly talk about the relationship between you and the developer, which in our case would be probably Steven. You mentioned before, sometimes there's algorithm changes, etc., and a lot of it is impacted by user experience. And so there has to be a little bit of attention has to be paid to your actual website design. Quite often, your website design influences your SEO. So talk to us a little bit about the relationship between you and a developer and how you work together in making that work.
So we the specialists, the SEO specialists and the developers work very closely together. Is once it comes to the user experience, and then also stuff like the site speeds, and then also other more technical side of things. Because obviously the web developer of that website knows the ins and outs of that website. They know exactly where to do what and where they can change something where we may not. So before we make any big changes to user experience, to the very technical things, we speak to the developer first to tell him, listen, is this something we can do on our side, or would you prefer to do that because you know the ins and outs of that website? And with the user experience, and that changes just as much. Go and look at a website which was designed 10 years ago and go and look at the websites that are designed nowadays. It's two different screens that you're looking at. Let's say you take the same business and you look at your website 10 years ago and your new website, there will be a massive, massive, massive difference. Because obviously the images, the text, the fonts, the spacings, like everything changed over time. So the developer plays a massive role within the SEO community as well.
Good. There's obviously also a kind of a partnership and a relationship between you and the content or the copywriters, which hasn't really got anything to do with the developer or the designer. Tell us a little bit about the interplay and the interaction between you and copywriters like Grant, who would provide you with the content on the website, or is that something that you guys do? Do you go and give advice on keyword placement, keyword use, that kind of thing?
Okay, so yes, Grant writes fantastic articles, and when you really don't know what to do or what to write about, which keywords for certain like industries, like I said, it's different for every single industry, the style of writing, the type of content, the amount of content. So we first do extensive keyword research on normal key phrases and then also questions asked to be answered. So we do the keyword research for Grant. We will then send the keyword research through to him, and he will then take that breakdown of every single keyword, every single key phrase or questions that has search volumes. He will take that and then we're going to integrate that into the content that he's writing for a client. So the copywriter is playing one of the biggest roles in SEO, because without content, he's going to know what you're doing.
True. All right. There is. I want us to, if you're comfortable, let's do a little bit of a live kind of coaching or consulting session. Let's take my personal brand, for instance. Let's say it's about 16 years ago. Someone wrote a scathing article about me. We're not talking about SEO's role in reputation management. Someone wrote a bad article about you, and that's like, you've got this white sheet in front of you. There's this black spot on this thing because of this article, and the merits and everything about it. But it's in the search. If you go a couple pages, sometimes it's on the front page, sometimes it's on page 5, but it's still not good for you to be there. What is your advice in reputation management there? Do I need to just write more articles? Do I target my name actually as a search term and write more articles where that's used? What is your advice for someone that maybe had a bad review on a blog by someone influential, and now it might be hurting their business and their reputation?
So you did have the right idea there by writing a lot more blogs, articles, getting people to write blogs and articles about you, to phase that type of bad energy and negative articles out, to phase that out. But then also go onto that article, take one of your best articles and go put it in the comments. Let people see
Okay.
what the real you, okay, well, who you are, what you do, and why this article is not true, or maybe there's false accusations. Go into that.
Yeah.
Post one of your best articles or your best blogs, so people can go and click on that, and then like a perspective will change completely, because how can this one be so good and this one so bad? Everyone is right. So yeah, well, that's just something that I would personally do, and yeah, well, that would be my tip.
So you mentioned their good article. So a good article depends probably on your perspective. From an SEO point of view, a good article is a good article that is weighty. It's got good information, a little bit of keywords, etc. For me, for instance, a good article is one with lots of comments and feedback. What would you say overall, leaning a little bit to the SEO side? What would be considered a good article for you?
A good article. Okay, so first of all, the title, that should be booming. That should immediately get your attention immediately. So the title, that is the first thing that anyone sees. Then also the keyword use within that. Don't overuse your keywords. Don't use the same keyword. Use synonyms to those. To the focus keyword. Use synonyms. Then also answer questions people ask about the topic you're writing about. Ask the question in the article, but also have the answer there. That's one big thing that is changing these days. People are just asking questions on Google. Maybe you can go and answer their questions. So once you can answer a question, that will raise maybe more questions, but then also put a link into another article with that question that I just got raised in the previous article, and also that answer. And yeah, well, the stream goes on. And then one big thing for me is comments and reviews on a blog or an article or a web page or anything. Comments and reviews are a massive thing, because maybe someone will make a fantastic comment, but using the keyword that you are targeting. So that just gives you a bit more authority on that page, because Google also reads the comments. Once the person uses their keyword in the comment, that gives you a bit more authority.
Awesome. Thank you so much. My last question to you then is, when a client, talk to me about the client experience. I want you to answer two questions for me here. Number one, what's it like for a client working with you? What is that interaction like? And secondly, what do you need from a client when they come and see you and you start working together?
So first of all, when I meet clients, I'll always be friendly. Try and listen to them first. Try and listen to the client first before you try and say anything. Let them say what they want to say, and then you start pitching or whatever you've done for the client so far to, let's say, get them as a client or to maintain them as a client. Always be straightforward with the client, never lie. Let's say there is a drop in rankings. Tell them, yes, there was a drop in rankings, but tell them why. You have to always have a reason to what you're saying. So I must say that I haven't had a bad experience with the clients, and I'm very thankful for that. Maybe that's just a team that I'm working with that's
Awesome.
helps me to make the client happy and keep them happy. And then what we need from the client is, what do they want to target? Where do they want to feature? And what is their plan for the next 6 months or a year? So we've focused for the last 6 months on this. Is there anything else that you can think of that we should maybe target a bit more of, or give a bit more attention to? Or would you like to run the campaign as is? Or what do you want to change? This is up to you. This is your campaign. It's not our campaign. It's your campaign. So we need to satisfy your needs. Whatever the client asks, maybe it's possible, maybe it's not. If it's not possible, once again, always have a reason why it's not possible.
Awesome. Louis, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. I think these things are always good for education going forward. And I believe your first interview like this, I hope you enjoyed it, and I wish you a great day ahead. Thank you, everyone that's been watching watching the stream today. We appreciate your time, and if you're watching this afterwards, you're welcome to post any questions for us in the thread below, and we'll get Louis to answer your questions for you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again next week, Thursday at 10 a.m. Bye-bye.